Persona 5 is a game of rebellion, a story of high school students banding together and resisting the authority of those who loom over them. At face value, the story being presented is a simple one, a tale of kids versus adults, a tale of enduring pain and holding on until life changes. But that's not the whole story being told. Instead, Persona 5 offers a story of life-altering consequences, a story of thieves, hearts, and the lives they steal back for themselves, a story of action in the face of apathy. Tempted with societal complacence, stunted by past consequences, defined by surrounding perspectives, Persona 5 offers alternatives in the form of rebellion, a path of self-affirmation in the face of self-destruction. And while doing their part in affecting and reforming the lives of others, it is through taking action to change their own lives where our heroes' true power lies. The power they awaken to is a result of their own actions, and the changes they make with that power are within themselves. The greatest hearts they take are their own. Our story begins with our protagonist entering a probationary period for a crime he didn't commit. Forced to leave his hometown, our protagonist enters the care of Sojiro, the suave curry and coffee master of Leblon.
To be honest, I didn't really want to come.
While living under Sojiro, our protagonist must also enroll in Shujin Academy, a new school in a new city, where every student seemingly knows of his troubled past, and is not shy to judge and dismiss him according to it.
Settle down.
Forced into a probationary period he doesn't deserve, under the care of a man who is initially uncertain of him, while attending a school whose teachers and students are severely distrustful of him, our protagonist is completely robbed of his individual identity and personal truths. As if in response to his resentment of these dire circumstances, our protagonist is introduced to the Velvet Room, a prison representative of the state of his heart. There he meets Igor, Caroline, and Justine, all denizens of this realm. From them, he is introduced to the true circumstances of reality and is thrust into a grand adventure.
Welcome to my Velvet Room.
The destiny of the world is on a course for ruin, and one's own rehabilitation may be the future's only saving grace. In order to stave off ruin and succeed in rehabilitation, that is, oppose an unjust future and stay true to his own identity, our protagonist will need to inspire within himself an insurgent spirit, take refuge in the support of friends, and traverse a metaphysical realm where the fight for the truth is quite literally a battle of wills. Inspired with a spirit for change, in possession of a power beyond his understanding, and wasting no time in finding steadfast friends, our protagonist and company embark on a path to resist the control of authority and judgment over their lives, and fight for a personal identity where the truth of their hearts can be free.
Right on! What's up, Persona?
Throughout their story, our gang of misfit heroes will continually exhibit the tenets of an insurgent spirit, as outlined to them by various denizens of the Velvet Room. These tenets being 1. A soul of rebellion, to break through the distortion of corrupted ill intent. 2. The strength of bonds, to overcome the chains of spiritual captivity. And 3. A resolve for truth, to stand up against the negative fate. By possessing each of these tenets, our heroes oppose a future fated to them by others, and pave a reality true to their own hearts. This journey that our heroes embark on, and the tenets employed to ensure the path that they've chosen, is no more evident than in the process of assembling the Phantom Thieves in their totality.
And I thought we were done.
With each palace conquered and every new member joined, the Phantom Thieves exhibit a rebellious spirit, bolstered by their bonds. Whether it be Joker, On, Ryuji, and Morgana overcoming the perverse high school dominion of Kamoshida, Yusuke overcoming the manipulative tutelage of his mentor Madarame, Makoto standing up against authoritative adults like Kaneshiro, Futaba facing the fears of her unbearable past, or Haru staying true against the corruption of her father Okumura, our heroes are continually acting to assert the truths of their own hearts against a world that would minimize them. In the case of our founding members, Kamoshida represents our first primary example of such corruption, and the spirited rebellion needed to overcome it. For Kamoshida, Shujin Academy is his own personal castle, and the students are subjugated to the roles of slaves and sexual playthings. Within his palace, being the physical manifestation of his real-world distorted desires, volleyball team members are forced to endure torturous punishment, and female students like An and Shiho are subjected to sexual deviancy at the hands of the castle's king.
That rat bastard!
Although existing as such within a palace, the presence of such a place in the metaverse is indicative of how Kamoshida views students in the real-world Shujin Academy. volleyball team members are constantly abused in practice, and An and Shiho are blackmailed and manipulated by Kamoshida in his attempts to derive sexual pleasure from them. What's more, because of the sway that Kamoshida has over the school's reputation, with its designs for a reputable volleyball team, the students that are abused under Kamoshida feel powerless to speak up against their misfortunes. Whether a slave to the success of the volleyball team, or a powerless female student controlled by a perverse adult, the students' identities have been completely redefined according to the whims and wishes of Kamoshida. To make matters worse, most of the students unaffected by Kamoshida tend to share in likewise judgment of his subjects. An is viewed as an immoral scandal for her involvement with Kamoshida, Ryuji is viewed as an aggressive rebel, having openly shown opposition to Kamoshida's involvement with the track team, and Joker is likewise viewed as a delinquent student, given his, albeit unfounded, juvenile record, and now newly open opposition to Kamoshida. In light of this, students feel powerless to take any stand against Kamoshida, as if the school is a personal prison, locking away any life they have left within themselves.
So... why?
However, although our heroes are viewed negatively for their opposition to Kamoshida, it is precisely this opposition that will grant them freedom from his control. Locked away within the prison of Kamoshida's palace, it is Joker who first answers to the spirit of rebellion. Awakening to his persona Arsene, Joker demonstrates his strength of will and desires to break free from the chains of the one who would imprison him.
I am the rebel soul that resides within you.
Ryuji and An also answer to the spirit of rebellion, breaking free from the perceptions cast upon them by Kamoshida. No longer accepting the labels attributed to them, our heroes embrace the truth of the spirit within them.
Blast him away!
This is in stark contrast to Kamoshida himself. While Kamoshida keeps his true nature hidden, suppressing a personality not worthy of being seen, our heroes want their true identities known, wearing masks representative of their true hearts and donning attire befitting of one who rebels in favor of the truth.
Bring it!
While those with distorted desires hide their truths and impress their negative perceptions onto reality, our heroes act to bring their true selves to the light and create a reality in which they are perceived for who they truly are.
You're kind, Lady An.
While a difficult path to walk alone, our heroes take solace in the bonds they form together. By staying true to their shared bonds, our heroes are able to stand fast against a great opposition, and as these bonds strengthen, so too does the power of their shared desire for self-actualization.
No one's gonna stop me now!
With a great spirit of rebellion brought to light, and the strength of their bonds bolstering their efforts, our heroes are able to properly confront Kamoshida and put an end to his reign over the subjects of his palace. For their volleyball team, for Shiho, and for themselves, our heroes oust a controlling tyrant from their school, and bask in their newly defined freedom. No more will they be perceived according to the distortion cast upon them by Kamoshida. For our heroes, their student identity is now entirely their own, and it is as such that the Phantom Thieves are born. This spirit of rebellion, bolstered by the bonds of friendship, represents a resolve that will be the founding inspiration for all members of the Phantom Thieves. For Yusuke, he is under his own form of cruel tutelage that needs to be overcome, in the form of the great artist Madarame. A pupil of Madarame's, Yusuke is given shelter and instruction, albeit for a price all too great. Unbeknownst to Yusuke, Madarame took no action in any effort to save Yusuke's mother from death. Stealing her great work, the Sayuri, and positing it as his own, Madarame gained great renown in the art world. However, his manipulation wouldn't stop there. Taking in pupil after pupil, Madarame would steal the works of his students and present them as his own creations. As such, Madarame had an unlimited source of creative potential, while the students under him suffered.
I can't believe this.
For Madarame, his pupils are nothing but property to be acquired, with no human worth in and of themselves. Similar to Kamoshida's volleyball team, Madarame's pupils are treated like slaves, who owe their lives to their master. If any of Madarame's pupils were to revolt against him, he would crush their reputation in the art world, ensuring that the industry's negative view of the pupil would forever prevent them from successfully presenting their true artistry to the world. In a sense, the very essence of their lives sacrificed for the gains of another. It is in this situation that Yusuke finds himself. After learning the truth of his circumstances, it is up to Yusuke whether he will concede to a life in servitude of another, or embrace his soul of rebellion and have his true self presented on canvas for all the world to see.
A breathtaking sight.
Yusuke, while grateful for the assistance from the Phantom Thieves, realizes that it is ultimately up to the individual whether they have the courage to stand up for themselves. Yusuke garners this courage and confronts Madarame. Albeit difficult, Yusuke takes back the artistic identity belonging to himself and shuns the manipulations of his corrupt mentor. He fights alongside the Phantom Thieves to give courage to others, as well as to have his true artistic identity brought forth, free from manipulation. It is on this path that Yusuke believes he will grow, both as an artist and as a person.
Very well, bring it on!
Our next hero to rebel against the distorted control of adults and take back their individual identity as a member of the Phantom Thieves is the best student council president, the most clever tactician, the smartest student in school, the best at stealth, best hair, best clothes, best face, the absolute best girl, a total queen, Makoto.
Here!
Title introductions aside, Makoto is completely overwhelmed by the authoritative figures in her life. Principal Kobayakawa puts tremendous pressure on her throughout her tenure as Shujin, dangling the hopes of a university recommendation in front of her. He even entrusts her with the ridiculous task of unmasking the identities of the Phantom Thieves, in the hopes of appeasing the powers that reign over even himself. Accompanying the pressure of the principal is a student body that judges Makoto's position as an unbearable good girl, while her home life is overseen by an older sister that sees her as little more than useless.
I'm not.
Although successfully cornering the Phantom Thieves, Makoto chooses the safety of others before the reputation of herself. She asks the Phantom Thieves to put an end to a mafia overlord, Kaneshiro, who's financially manipulating the students that frequent Shibuya. However, when it looks like there may be no way for the Phantom Thieves to take action against Kaneshiro, Makoto once again puts her life in danger in order to ensure that the Phantom Thieves can have every means of succeeding in their efforts against him.
I can take care of this myself!
Free from the dangerous predicament she thrusted herself into, Makoto chastises herself, only for An to comfort her. Makoto's ability to look inward and choose good sets her apart from the authoritative adults that are so closely tied to her and are only interested in themselves.
You didn't have a place to belong either.
With a newfound resolve to put an end to Kaneshiro's reign over the students in Shibuya, Makoto personally joins the Phantom Thieves in their efforts to rid Kaneshiro of his control. Tired of the responsibilities forced upon her by authoritative adults, Makoto chooses to act according to her own heart. No more will her actions be governed by the adults who lord over her. She will no longer endure the manipulations of those in power, opting instead to stay true to her own heart and act according to her own personal will. The old Makoto is gone, and the adults who tried to control her are next, and she'll punch, kick, and nuke them out of existence.
It's freaking hot!
While canonically not the next member of the Phantom Thieves, don't worry, we're going to be talking about Futaba a lot very soon. Haru is our next representative for the spirit of rebellion and the strength of bonds exhibited by the Phantom Thieves.
Do pardon me.
The daughter of a frugal businessman, Haru's life is defined by the machinations of her father. Kunikazu Okumura is the president of Okumura Foods and the founder of its successful fast food chain, Big Bang Burger. As the owner of this chain, Okumura sees all of his workers as disposable robots, to be used to exhaustion and inevitably replaced when their lives are no longer beneficial to the production of the company.
See? Okumura is a piece of shit, just like I said!
Okumura's disregard for the value of human life extends even to his own daughter. Wanting to venture into the political realm, and seeing Haru as a mere tool to be used and disposed of, Okumura offers her up to be married to Sugimaru, a man from a wealthy and influential political party. Sugimaru has no love for Haru, only wanting to use her for sexual appeasement. Even Okumura, who knows this, doesn't care. For him, Haru's life is forfeit in contrast to his own aspirations. Haru's life is one of near non-existence. She has no personal identity other than her relation to the men in her life, both of whom view her life as their rightful possession, to use however they see fit.
Let go!
It is in response to this character assassination that Haru acts to set herself free. Rebelling against the designs of her father and the advances of her fiancé, Haru objects to the reality constructed for her by others and embraces her own spirit of rebellion. Calling forth her persona, Haru declares that she will no longer be subjected to anybody but herself. The real Haru is awakened and will not be made subservient to anybody.
Jeez!
In order to ensure the strength to succeed in her rebellion, Haru calls upon the Phantom Thieves to share in her endeavor and change her father's heart. However, she doesn't want his heart changed for his own benefit. She wants to change her father's heart for her own freedom. And it is through this desire for self-actualization, accompanied by the strengthening bonds of support, that Haru is able to succeed in reclaiming her life and finding personal freedom.
That's how I truly feel.
While all members of the Phantom Thieves exhibit rebellion in bringing forth their true selves in the face of corrupt circumstances, the path to take back one's own life and forge a new future is perhaps none more evident than in the case of Futaba.
Too bad.
Under the guise of Alibaba, Futaba confronts the Phantom Thieves, wanting them to steal her heart and change her life for the better. However, as Futaba soon learns, she's the one who must personally take that step and take back her own heart. Futaba wants to discard her feelings of pain, but feels like she can't do anything about it herself. Voices echo in her head, blaming Futaba for the death of her mother, and causing an ever-present source of grief and self-hate. While within her palace, the Phantom Thieves discover murals that detail Futaba's memory of her past. In Futaba's mind's perception, her own mother never loved her. Fueled by the spiteful words of corrupt officials, Futaba's memory recalls a mother who was a complete regret over the existence of her own daughter, to the point of suicide.
I killed her. That's why I'm here in this tomb.
Defined by the grief of her past, Futaba is emotionally crippled into a state of self-hate and permanent isolation. The self-disregard becomes so great that Futaba even wishes that she was never born in the first place. Her bedroom of isolation becomes a tomb, a life of non-existence, an emotional suicide. However, some life still remained in her heart. Despite the self-destruction, Futaba's heart couldn't help but rebel in any way that it could. Unable to bear the pain of the life designed by her distorted past, Futaba's heart inspires contact with the Phantom Thieves.
Look at that! Please, help me!
At first, her will of rebellion seems meager, a text crying out for help. Even so, the Phantom Thieves answer the call and agree to make the change. But Futaba's work isn't done yet. Bolstered by the growing support of the Phantom Thieves, Futaba continually takes more and more action to make the stealing of her own heart a reality. An anonymous text as Alibaba becomes a revealing of her true identity as Futaba Sakura. Solely digital communication becomes the unlocking of an impenetrable door. Cowering in a closet becomes a venture into her own palace.
So this is inside my heart.
Throughout the process of her heart being taken, Futaba continually takes greater and greater action to ensure that the Phantom Thieves succeed. Futaba chose to text. Futaba chose to unlock the door. Futaba chose to enter her own palace. Futaba's change of heart is not against her will. In fact, it is an operation of her own orchestration. Once Futaba is inside her own heart, she is forced to confront the trauma there, face to face. Because her pain was so overwhelming, Futaba could not see the truth of her past clearly, and her perception birthed self-destructive tendencies. But in choosing to face the pain of reality, the truth was made clear to her, and Futaba's newfound perception granted her freedom.
I'll never forgive them!
Directly fighting the mental construct of a hateful mother, Futaba denies the distortion of her past. While corrupt officials may have constructed one reality for her, Futaba realizes that her personal truth is vastly different. Futaba's mother truly loved her, and it is this truth that Futaba vows to never forget. And in service of this truth, Futaba gathers all of her newfound power to destroy the false identity that was seated in her heart. Futaba vows to live her life as free and happy as she can, and takes solace in the belief that, where she may stumble, her newly formed bonds of friendship will give her the resolve to carry on. Her heart may have been a tomb, imprisoning her in an unbreakable sorrow, but with a surge of rebellious spirit and the unwavering support of her friends, the impossible was made possible, and a new life of freedom was birthed for Futaba.
That girl marches to the beat of her own drum, doesn't she?
Having all confronted their own personal struggles with self-identity, and having attained a sense of freedom from oppressive distorted perceptions, each member of the Phantom Thieves has achieved a form of control over their own hearts. However, the result for their truth to be known has taken a serious hit. Over the course of their journey for self-realization and freedom, the identity of the Phantom Thieves as a whole has been tumultuous. Once lauded by society for their efforts in unveiling the darker truths of the world, the reputation of the Phantom Thieves nosedived. Although secretly committed by the corrupt hands of Akechi, the death of Okumura was used to frame the Phantom Thieves and soil the just truth that they had desired to make known to the world. After overcoming the machinations of Akechi, the corruption of law enforcement, and a return from the dead, the Phantom Thieves managed to evade desolation, and with the support of newly acquired allies in Sojiro and Sai, set their sights upon the one target whose downfall would make their personal justice known. Revealed to be the man behind the dishonesty of Shujin's principal, the corruption of law enforcement, the mastermind of Akechi's psychotic breakdowns, and even the unjust incarceration of our protagonist, future Prime Minister Shido represents the apex of all the varying forms of negative distortion that our heroes have had to face in their pursuit of freedom.
You little...
In his pursuit of a society under his complete control, Shido manipulated the systems of law and media, and with the help of Akechi, defined the Phantom Thieves as villains, garnering public opinion to share in the same thought. Daunted by the power and control of Shido, the Phantom Thieves lost control over the truth of their identity.
What a lightning-fast change of attitude.
In order to take back their identities and forge their own truth, the Phantom Thieves attempt the taking of Shido's heart. With their soul of rebellion still alight and the bonds of their friendship unwavering, the Phantom Thieves fight for a future where their own truth is known.
Sounds like you're fired up.
In their process of taking Shido's heart, they are confronted by Akechi, who they just completely annihilate. But in his final moments, even Akechi can't help but notice the power shared by the Phantom Thieves. As somebody also manipulated by Shido, with a painful past forever defining his own future actions, Akechi is very much in familiar company alongside the members of the Phantom Thieves. However, where the members of the Phantom Thieves justly confronted the pains of their pasts and forged a new future with the support of their friends, Akechi found no such result. In the end, Akechi's failure to come to terms with his own past would ultimately lead to the destruction of his own future, especially without the support group of unwavering friends. And while the Phantom Thieves may have pleaded with Akechi to join them, it is ultimately up to him whether he will make a change in his own heart. And although not choosing to join the Phantom Thieves, he dies fighting for the freedom of a group of friends he envies.
After all this, that's what you have to say.
After their confrontation with Akechi, the Phantom Thieves finally come face to face with the man who had a hand in the manipulation of their lives. Shido explains to the Phantom Thieves that, although they may want to strive for the realization of their true selves, the masses of society do not share in that dream. According to Shido, the ignorant masses only care about their own personal happiness. The people place their trust in Shido as someone who will take care of all of their anxieties and responsibilities, so that people don't have to confront them on their own. For Shido, it is clear that society would rather live a powerless life of happiness rather than a difficult life of freedom. However, the Phantom Thieves don't settle for the shallow happiness of complacence under Shido. To ignore one's own anxieties and responsibilities brings happiness, but also complacence. A life without the freedom to embrace who you are, and the future of who you can grow to be, is no life worth living. Throughout their whole journey together, the Phantom Thieves have continually confronted their own personal anxieties and responsibilities, and through difficult effort and mutual support, embraced their true selves, gaining the freedom to be who they truly are. And as such, the only thing they have left to do is take Shido's heart, for good.
Hell yeah!
Throughout their journey of assembly, the Phantom Thieves truly walked the path of rehabilitation in the wake of ruin. Spurred by their souls of rebellion, strengthened by their bonds of friendship, and fortified by their resolve for truth, the Phantom Thieves, both individually and as a whole, worked to overcome the corrupted ill intent of authority and denounce a negative fate in favor of a future based on their own truth. Overcoming the distortion of one person after another, the Phantom Thieves proved themselves to each other and, for a time, the world. However, the journey for self-freedom is never that easy, and the world is not so easily swayed by romantic ideals. For some, a prison provides more comfort than freedom. While each of the members of the Phantom Thieves may have exhibited a rebellious will in denying a life defined for them by others, a great majority of society shared in no such spirit. For the greater public, the freedom to express one's true self and pursue one's own future comes at much too high a cost. Throughout their journey, the Phantom Thieves had to overcome many institutions for their personal freedom. Scandalous teachers, organized crime, immoral businessmen, dishonest law enforcement, and even corrupt government officials. And while their journey may have been a success up until this point, such a path is not easily taken by everybody. For a great many, the price of freedom is too steep, especially in the shadow of a corrupt social framework that encourages passivity and apathy. As such, despite the Phantom Thieves stealing Shido's heart, and Shido subsequently revealing his crimes to the whole of the nation, the general populace feels no inclination to revolt. Rather than lose faith in Shido, the public instead becomes disenchanted with the Phantom Thieves. With each passing heart taken, and each momentous corruption revealed, it has become easier for society to accept a comfortable lifestyle in the shadow of corruption, rather than continually fight and struggle for freedom. Instead of Shido being shunned, it is the Phantom Thieves that become forgotten, as if they had never even existed. Like a dream or a fairy tale, the Phantom Thieves begin to slip from the public consciousness, overshadowed with wishes for Shido rule.
What's happening here worries me.
In light of this turn in public consciousness, the Phantom Thieves think back to the words of Shido. Perhaps he was right in suggesting that the masses only care about their own personal happiness. If the Phantom Thieves bring the corruption of society to light, and society doesn't wish to fight such corruption, then the Phantom Thieves are no longer saviors of the world. They're a detriment. Society would rather the Phantom Thieves not exist than have to face their anxieties and responsibilities, endangering a happy life of complacency. Wrestling with the reality of their situation, the Phantom Thieves recall mementos. Being the collective unconscious of society, mementos represents a shared palace of distorted desires, the amalgamated darkest perspectives of daily social living. The words of Igor echo in Joker's mind. With the masses failing to acknowledge the integrity of the Phantom Thieves, their own personal rehabilitation is hindered. As long as their true hearts aren't known, the Phantom Thieves can never be free from the perspectives of others. They will forever be imprisoned according to the lives designated to them by society. But if the Phantom Thieves can take the treasure of mementos, that is, steal the corrupted heart of society as a whole, then perhaps they can find personal freedom, as well as inspire a fighting spirit in the masses. With their plan set, they choose to venture to the core of Mementos, further than they have ever traversed before.
Sounds good to me.
After following seemingly unending paths, chasing subway trains carrying passengers deeper and deeper into the void, the Phantom Thieves finally arrive at the entrance to the core area of Mementos. A great door opens before them, and Futaba makes an observation. This grand entrance allows people to enter, but never to leave. After seeing subway trains release their passengers and throngs of people passing through the great door, the Phantom Thieves realize a grim truth. The people going into the depths of Mementos are willingly choosing a life of imprisonment. Perturbed by this fact, the Phantom Thieves fight on toward the treasure. As they venture forth into Mementos' core, they encounter many residents of this grim place. Subway passengers that have willingly entered into Mementos with no intention of leaving. Whether their dreams be too lofty, their lives too stressful, or the thought of complacence too comforting, the residents of Mementos enter into their cells with glee. Each of these prisoners represent a portion of the general masses that Shido referred to. To face one's anxieties and responsibilities is a great task. To rebel against an unjust world and fight for one's own truth is a difficult life. To live in complacence of injustice while not providing freedom can at least provide happiness in ignorance. These prisoners know that the ruin of society is nigh, so why fight for a reality that may not be worth fighting for? Why have a burdened fight for truth when the comfort of complacence is more easily attained? The people in Mementos would rather sacrifice themselves for happiness rather than risk comfort and fight for the freedom to be who they truly are.
They're truly distorted, just like the scenery here.
Living without having to think for oneself, not needing to strive for excellence, not needing to make difficult decisions, all agency and identity are relinquished. Only comfort remains. And with comfort comes no pain, only a cell, to lock oneself away in, lest freedom prove too daunting. They desire to be controlled and imprisoned, as long as it means peace. The prisoners are their own wardens, and the cells are their own hearts, shuttered away forever.
I don't understand.
Stunned at their realization of the state of society, but not losing faith in their own personal mission, the Phantom Thieves push onward toward their goal. After much struggle, they finally reach their destination, the treasure of Mementos, the physical form of society's apathetic corruption, the Holy Grail.
We better not lose now.
The Holy Grail represents the mentality of those in society who willingly imprison themselves. It is the physical form of their self-destructive, apathetic complacence. The collective hearts of the masses have transformed into indolence, giving birth to a relic that is so well realized by all that it has gained its own sentience. Representative of salvation, the Holy Grail grows in power to the state of worship and eventual godhood, and with such slothful complacence gaining more and more support, so too does the relic grow in power, a salvation for all those who willingly imprison themselves for their own happiness. The Holy Grail, the god of apathy, ensures the complacency of humanity.
Humans aren't all stupid like you say they are.
Unable to overcome such power, the Phantom Thieves are cast out of its presence as the metaphysical mentality of the masses slowly encroaches upon physical reality as a whole. The rebellious spirit of the Phantom Thieves pales in comparison to the overwhelming apathy of the masses. With their personal rehabilitation completely daunted by the collective ruin of society, the Phantom Thieves are overcome by doubt. With their rebelling spirit glowing fainter and the mentality of society completely shunning any thoughts of fight, the Phantom Thieves slowly and totally fade from the consciousness of the masses. Once fighting for freedom, the Phantom Thieves are designated to the cells of their own hearts, succumbing to the perceptions of a reality that wishes not for their own existence. Despite exhibiting a spirit of rebellion, the supporting bonds of friendship, and an unwavering resolve for the truth, the Phantom Thieves have succumbed to the great god of apathy. In the end, it would appear that the complacent will of the masses was too great a burden, and the spirit of the self simply paled in comparison. Lording defeat over our protagonist, Igor declares that the path of rehabilitation can no longer be walked, and that the ruin of humanity has prevailed. As such, Igor orders the execution of Joker. Despite hesitancy from the twin wardens, they have no choice but to obey their master.
You incompetent prisoner!
However, even when seemingly all hope is lost, even with the metaphysical denizen of his heart's prison lording over him, even if he may be the only one left to fight, Joker still chooses to rebel. Just as he continually refused to falter in the face of societal oppression, he will not accept the complacency of surrender that his heart is tempted with. Joker chooses to fight off the wardens, and even Igor if he has to.
Have you forsaken humanity?
Although losing the fight, the very act of his defiance inspires the unbeknownst corruption of the Velvet Room to come to an end. Caroline and Justine are properly reunited as Lavenza, and Igor is unmasked as Yaldabaoth, the god of control made manifest by the apathetic desires of humanity. That is, he is the Holy Grail itself.
I am the Holy Grail that grants wishes.
Throughout the entire course of his journey, Joker's heart existed in the shadow of the god of apathy, under the guise of Igor. Just like with the rest of humanity, Joker remained under the watchful eye of complacence, the thought of surrender ever present. However, he always chose to fight for his true self, regardless of outside perspective or the temptation of surrender. And now, once again defying any notion of surrender, Joker abolishes the god of apathy from the Velvet Room. Rejecting all forms of imprisonment from his heart, Joker is truly able to walk free, his heart no longer imprisoned. With the soul of rebellion burning in him greater than ever before, all Joker needs are the bonds of his friends, to provide him with the strength to finish the fight for freedom.
That's why we risked our lives coming here!
Finding each member of the Phantom Thieves in the prisons of their own hearts, Joker has a heart-to-heart with each of them. Each member of the Phantom Thieves, while willing to fight against the corruption of others, must make the decision to totally fight against the distortion of themselves. Ryuji must resolve to be ever defiant in the face of despair. An must resolve to continually fight against her dispirited former self. Yusuke must resolve to break the boundaries of a restrictive society. Makoto must resolve to not allow her heart be defined by the rules of others. Futaba must resolve to not allow the pain of her past define her future. Haru must resolve to take control of her own life back from others. Each resolve of the members of the Phantom Thieves, while inspired by the corruption of others, is a decision that must be made for themselves. Each thief had to confront their past lives and their current injustices, dispel any doubts of powerlessness, and push forward in the strength of their own personal beliefs. In so doing, their cells were unlocked, and their hearts were successfully stolen back.
Ta-da! A real jailbreak!
Gathered together with the resolve to fight for their rightful place in a free future, the Phantom Thieves hold a final meeting with Lavenza and the true Igor of the Velvet Room. The Holy Grail hopes to attain eternal peace by filling reality with an uncompromising complacence, welcoming a ruin of humanity characterized by self-imprisonment. As such, the Phantom Thieves must challenge this evil god once and for all, and rightfully reclaim their existence in reality.
We don't let what others think hold us down anymore!
Fighting through the mementos corrupted Shibuya and ascending a path towards Yaldabaoth, the Phantom Thieves press onward with a fervor to make their true existence known. Coming face to face with this god of apathy, controlling all of humanity with a shallow happiness of complacence, the Phantom Thieves summon the accumulated strength garnered throughout their journey thus far, recalling their rebellion against the corrupt authorities that ruled over their lives, recalling their resolve to denounce the negative perceptions of others in the past, recalling the strength they've each mustered by relying on the bonds of friendship that they've established together. The Phantom Thieves triumph over the ultimate temptation of surrender. By exhibiting their strength over Yaldabaoth, the Phantom Thieves denounced the regression of an apathetic humanity and chose to believe in a future where strength of will can make a change.
I will see my justice through for the sake of protecting what I care about.
Motivated by the power of freedom displayed against the god of control, all the members of society begin to rally supporting cries for their own freedom, inspired by their reborn belief in the Phantom Thieves. Hoping for a future where their hearts would be their own, no longer imprisoned by external views or possessed by self-apathy, the voices of humanity rise up in celebration of the Phantom Thieves and a newfound belief in a fight for a truly independent freedom. With the cries for freedom overpowering the words of the god of control, Joker gathers the strength to summon the god-killing persona, breaks the chains that would restrict his will, and pulls the trigger. As the final shot rings out and Yaldabaoth fades from existence, the Phantom Thieves enjoy their hard-fought freedom of heart. They may not be able to utilize the metaverse anymore, and their tenure as the Phantom Thieves may be at an end, but their lessons for freedom will forever be an ever-present guide as our heroes venture forth into the future that they have created for themselves. The Phantom Thieves' journey represents a triumph in one's desire for self-realization. Throughout their adventure, our heroes exhibit the soul of rebellion, crying out against the corruption of authority, the strength of friendship, harnessing their bonds against the chains of self-destruction, and the fervor of unyielding resolve, fighting for their own truth against the preconceived notions of others and the painful memories of the past. Whether overcoming the dishonesty of a school board, the manipulations of a tutelage, the unjust rules of adults, the ever-clinging pains of the past, the possessive control of a tycoon, the corruption of a government, or the omnipresent temptation of surrender, the Phantom Thieves never stopped fighting. Forced to face the oppression of corrupt authorities, our heroes refuse to be controlled. Forced to endure the judgments of others, our heroes refuse to be defined. Forced to confront the pains of the past, our heroes fought for the potential of their future. Forced to face the temptation of surrender, our heroes fought for the pain of freedom.
Wiping your slate clean ain't so easy. You see what I mean?
The fight of the Phantom Thieves represents the struggle shared by all. We see ourselves reflected in the perceptions of others, our past hurts can define our futures, and the pain of the truth can invite the comfort of apathy. But as is the case with the Phantom Thieves, each individual has the power to choose and to act. Perceptions can be redefined, the past can become informative, and the truth can become a key to freedom. And while the Phantom Thieves took action time and time again to change the hearts of others, it was their action in changing their own hearts that made all the difference in the end. The Phantom Thieves chose to rebel. They chose to forge bonds with one another. They chose to confront their past, and in the end, they chose to fight for their own truth in the face of an easy surrender.
We can totally do whatever we want to do.
The strength to stand firm and act for one's own truth is the same power that inspires hope in others, motivating everyone to strive toward a better future. The Phantom Thieves chose to risk the shallow comfort of their current lives for the struggle of a free future, and in so choosing, they awakened to the voices of their insurgent spirits, broke the chains of the voices and figures that would seek to restrict their personal freedoms, and took back their hearts.